Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to FishOfHex. My name is Travis. Today's video we're going to be drilling and getting this frag tank ready for a client that will be here on Friday. So we got a couple days to get it done, but I wanted to show you this whole process, show you what equipment's involved and just the drilling and setting up the templates. I've done similar videos like this in the past and you guys seem to like them, so I figured I'd go ahead and make another one. Now this is the frag tank version of the Lowboy. Now I have drilled and used both the terrarium and the frag tanks. I know there's a difference in the silicone, as in how thick it is, and some other variations. I don't really remember off the top of my head. If you remember them, go ahead and put them in the comment section. But either way, I've used both types of tanks without any issues. Now, this is the stand that came with it at the local fish store. I did pick it up at that fish place in Lancaster. So we got the tank, and then the stand section is open for a pretty decent sized sump. You might have to take out one of the braces in the back and then just put it back in place when you're done putting in the sump if you get something that's relatively big. But other than that, it's pretty decent setup. So in this video, I'm going to be drilling for this Overflow box, which is a retrofit that I got from Bulk Reef Supply. Has no holes in it, so we have to make a template and drill it for a 1-inch bulkhead. And speaking of that, we have the bulkhead itself, the extra seal gasket that goes between the box itself and the glass, and then we have, of course, our 3/4 inch bulkhead with all our lock line, some paint here, which is the usual stuff, the Rust-Oleum oil-based black paint. This is going to be the flat black. We're going to do the bottom and the back of the tank, and of course some RO tubing that I'm going to run from my RODI outside so I can have a continuous source of water when it comes to cutting. So the plan of attack is to make a template first, get this box ready to go, drill both the return and the drain line, and then we'll come in and paint everything and then put the plumbing, set up the boxes and the overflow part. So yep, that's about it. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with the template for the overflow box. Now I'm going to just rip this off real quick. Now when it comes to the overflow box, I prefer this kind because I like to make the template based on how high I want it to be within the tank so I can adjust the water level. Now you guys can see in my frag tanks that the water level is different because I made those two tanks at different times with different templates. If I could go back in time, I would have kept the template and used it for future builds. You know, just think about that if you want to add more tanks. That way your boxes stay at the same level and your water level stays at the same. So what I'm going to do is make a quick template out of some cardboard. Now I've used wood in the past. This is fine. We're only using this to start the hole. Once the hole is started with the drill bit, we can pull off the template and continue drilling through. Now this is a pretty simple process. We're going to be making a template in the back, so we're going to have to line it up here on the cardboard. Just get a rough idea of where it's at. Come here with the knife. Alright, pull off the extra. Alright, so this is roughly the size of the box. Alright, you can see it fits pretty good, so we're going to head over to the tank real quick and just see exactly where we want this to be. Now, one thing about these tanks, and I messed up on this before, is that there's silicone where this box is supposed to go all the way up. So if you line it up based on just the outside of the rim, outside where the plastic is, where this piece of cardboard, you're going to have an issue with it not lining up correctly. So it's always best to go over to the tank and just double check where everything's going to line up before you figure out where you're going to put your hole. Okay, so now we're ready to line up the box before we mark our template and where we want to make any additional adjustments. So first thing I want to do is put the box in place, kind of where I want it to set up. I like it just a little bit off the edge of the glass, not too much, just for some adjustment, just in case I have to move it at all. And then of course down just a little bit because there's silicone up there. You can put it flush against both if you want. I just like having a little bit of leeway just in case. So the first thing I'm going to do is come in here and just mark the bottom of the box. Alright, so that's where the bottom of the box is. And then just do a quick mark over here at the end. Now what I want to do is take our template, put it up here, and then just, you can see that even though our template's the same size as our box, there's still a little bit that will have to be cut off. So I'm going to come in here and just mark where I want it to be cut. I'm going to just move the adjustment here, right? So what I want to do now is just cut this across and then line this up with the bottom of the box. That way we can compensate for the little gap that's here where the silicone and where the box is going to be. If you don't line it up perfectly, you're going to have a little bit of an issue. And we're going to come back and double check that. Once we cut it, I'll come right back and we'll put it on the inside to see if it lines up flush with our marks. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I went ahead and cut the bottom off. Let's go over here and line the box back up to where, put it where we want it to be. All right. come down just a little bit from the top. All right, and then we'll just put our template back in place, and you can hopefully you can see that it lines up perfectly with the bottom of the box. So that means that we're going to go ahead and make a hole in here, and then put that onto the box, cut the box as well, and then we're ready to drill. All right, so here is the 44 millimeter bit. This is what I use to cut holes, not only in the plastic, but I'll use it to cut this as well. So it is an older bit. It's been beat up. I've used it probably 100 times. And this whole pack, hopefully you guys can see it, I got from Harbor Freight a few years ago. So I'm going to go just line it up real quick. It doesn't have to be perfect because I'm just going to come through and cut it with my razor blade after. All right. You can see it's pretty decent there. So I'm going to cut that with the razor blade real quick. Okay, now that the hole is done, we're going to line it up on the back of the overflow. Make sure it's set up pretty good. Looks good to me. And then just come in here with a marker. You could tape it if you want to. Just come in here with a marker. Alright, so you can see, probably not, I don't know, hopefully you can see it, but it's on there. Okay, so let's drill the box, and then we'll move back over to the tank and get the hole set up ready for drilling. Okay, so I went ahead and pre-tapped the hole just a little bit because the bit on this is kind of large, so just went ahead and made sure it was lined up correctly before we start drilling. So it's going to punch the hole through here for the bulkhead. Alright. Okay, so it fits pretty good. Alright, lines up, no problems. So we're going to go ahead and take this template, get back over to the tank, line everything back up, take the bulkhead out, of course, line everything back up, just to double check, and then we'll go ahead and use the marker, and then come in there with the drill bit, just like we did just now. Obviously not the same drill bit, just want to clarify that. We're going to use the diamond drill bit. Okay, so we're just going to double check, as I said before, just to make sure everything lines up good. You can only cut the glass once, so you really want to take the time to double check everything. So we get this kind of where we want it to be. Take our template. Lines up pretty good, which then again gives us some leeway. Remember I mentioned some leeway. If it isn't perfect, the extra room that we gave between the top and the side glass will allow us to adjust. All right, so it's not like stuck and you can't get your bulkhead in there. So let's bring it out a little bit. Worked out pretty darn good. So I'm going to get the marker, we'll make the hole, and then we'll get out there and start drilling. Now you guys are probably wondering, am I going to make a separate template for the 3/4 inch return line? No, just gonna, if this is still good, then I'm just going to turn it upside down, kind of just put it where I generally want it to be, and just use the top to hold the bit still when it starts going in. This is pretty good height for a return line. So you can use the same one, just gonna flip it upside down to make the gap between the top and the bottom a little bit smaller. All right, let's go ahead and start drilling. I want to, of course, double check this one more time, just to make sure everything lines up. All right, good to go. Let me get some tape, put that in place. Yeah, that'll work. All right, let's get started. All right, so our only goal is to get the hole started, then we can pull the tape off. That way we have a little bit better water flow. Or pull the template off, sorry. All right, so you see the hole is started. Flow is perfect, and we can still save this for our return line. So set that to the side. Come back here and finish it off. So you're gonna add, just let the pressure of the drill, a decent RPM, just take your time, no rush. You'll start to feel when it starts to come out the other side. And actually, speaking of that, I might as well do that now. A quick tip here is just add a strip of tape. Grab this and knocking stuff over. A strip of tape underneath the hole, now that we see it. And then when that punches through, it won't fall and hit the bottom of the glass. It also will help with it breaking through evenly and not getting chips on the other side. So let's go and finish this up. Just want to make sure I'm going through evenly, because I know when you're using a drill, it's not even pressure. You sometimes favor a side, and I like to check it throughout the drilling process to make sure I'm breaking through somewhat evenly. So at this point, you want to feel that it felt like it broke through on this side, so you want to start working pressure around these sides to help it come through evenly. Perfect. Not a chip. I definitely need to upgrade this bit. I've cut, I don't know, 20 or 30 holes with it. It's pretty dead. Let's go ahead and grab the overflow box, see if it fits right, and then move over to the return. Okay, so we'll put our second seal in here when we finally do this. That fits pretty darn good. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the return line. So I'm going at a little bit of an angle, as you can see. There's a little gap here. That just allows one side to dig in real quick, and then I'll come flat with it. I'm just going to pull this off. See our hole's ready to go. I'm going to add the tape on the other side in just a second. Alright, so we're going to add that tape, and hopefully it will finish recording. I know that the low battery just came on, but you guys get the point, really. Okay, now that you guys have seen me set up the template, drill the tank, and paint it, let's go ahead and move on to the last step where we set up the overflow box in the return line. Now, I'm not going to be gluing anything, but I will get it set up so the client can finalize it once it's where he wants it to be. So it's pretty simple for the overflow box. This is going to attach to the bulkhead, which you guys will see here in just a second. Then it's going to tee off. We're going to put an air vent for the air to escape so you don't get that gurgling sound and all that kind of stuff that really drives you crazy. I have this set up on all of my Lowboy tanks and it works pretty well. So the first thing you want to do is just come in here with a drill, punch a hole in the top. Maybe punch a little hole into my desk. What's really awesome about these is it takes 10 minutes to replace. So, and this is probably the third time I've done it. As you can see, I beat it up with freaking razor blades. So next thing you want to do is take this tubing, which is just airline tubing I pulled from my Fido system. I had some extra stuff. And then it will go down into the tube. Again, I'm not going to glue anything because he's going to set it up. And then when the water comes through, the air will escape through the tube and that gurgling sound will go away. Now, let's go ahead and head over to the tank. It's on the stand right now. I cleaned it up a little bit. It was a little bit dirty from the water and all that stuff from the drilling process. But we're going to go ahead and put the box on and the return line, and then we're done. Okay, so we have our overflow box ready to go. Now, the first thing we want to do is grab our bulkhead, make sure our first seal is on there. Put that through the overflow box, and then add our second seal, which is going to basically bridge the gap between the glass and the box to make sure it doesn't leak. Put that all the way down, get it into the bottom. Okay, put it through the back, grab our nut, give it a quick twist, and then I'll have the client, once we set it up, because during transport all this stuff is going to be taken off so he doesn't accidentally bump it in the truck and break the glass. I'll have him do is just finger tight it and then just do a little twist, minor twist with a pair of pliers, nothing crazy. You definitely don't need to crank down, especially on these low boys, you will break them. But it should be pretty good. Just make sure it's level. And then we're going to come in here with our PVC fitting, which is a little bit long. Again, I want him to be able to adjust it to what works for him. Maybe his plumbing comes out too far. And then you're all set. It goes in there and you're good to go. So let's go ahead and move over to our return line and we'll be all set. All right, so for our return line, we have a 3/4 inch slip in the back, which will allow them to do PVC out the back of the tank to threaded in the front. So we'll take our threaded 3/4 inch adapter, screwed in place. Come in here with our lock line, just a regular segment off BRS. Weak ass hands can't get that on there. Here we go, in place. And then, of course, our nozzle end or lock line end. See if I can do it. There we go. Jesus, I gotta hit the gym a little bit more. First I break pliers by my bare hands and I can't put lock line on. Either way, that's good to go. He can take whatever segments off that he doesn't need. Going to put it through the front. Of course, make sure your seal is there, or gasket. Thread the nut on. Again, finger tighten, and then a little bloop. This little bloop. That's all I can explain. It's a little bloop, and then it'll be tight, ready to go. So that's it. We're done. Give you guys a quick look. Woo! And my mess, all my jugs, and we're done. So yeah, the setup is pretty decent. Really quick. It's an easy process, and I'm glad I could help him out. So anyway, that's about it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Any questions, let me know, and I will see you guys later. All right, peace.